when reconnecting with someone that you love that has not been in your life for a while, you want to make sure that you ask them some important questions, such as, how have you been? Are you healthy? Are you doing okay? Why in the world did you run away? Why did we end up separating? But above all else, you'll definitely want to start with, what's with all the yellow? And then they can respond with, it's a safe color. Acidman was written and directed by Alex Lehman, who did Meet Cute. Also written by Chris Doling, who did Where Hope Grows. And it stars Thomas Hayden Church as Lloyd, a father on the Oregon coast, who basically is a reclusive individual. And then his daughter Maggie, played by Diana Argan, who was recently in the Hulu original Clock. That was certainly a movie. It wasn't her fault, but it was, oh boy, check out my review of that. But nevertheless, Maggie has traveled a lot of miles. She's traveled over 1,000 miles, and then she traveled 1,000 more, and then she traveled a few more just to be right there at his door. Na 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 na. That's it, man. Na 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 na. Boy, I'm screwing up that song, but nevertheless, she basically just wants to reconnect with her dad, and she knows it's his place because there's Acidman written in graffiti on his trailer. Why? We find out a little bit later on. Basically, he has his reasons for why he is there and being reclusive. She has her reasons for why she's showing up, and we find those out as things go on. And as time goes on, there's also a dog, Migo. There's a waitress at a diner named Charlie that provides a little bit of backstory, and that's really about it. Other than that, there are a few side characters who show up for all of one scene, and there you go. It's centered around Thomas Hayden Church and Diana Argan. And she arrives, it's obviously awkward. They haven't seen each other in a number of years, and it was hard to track him down. There's scrap stuff all over the yard. It's a bit of a rundown trailer. He didn't really clean up all that well, but he's got a lot of audio tapes, VHS tapes, and other stuff and everything. And the dog Migo basically helps run the place. And then she looks around and says, what's with all the yellow? And he says, it's a safe color. And then from there, he reveals that he goes to a particular spot on a hill and sees some lights in the sky. No fire in the sky. No, don't worry. We don't have anything like that particular scene in Fire in the Sky, a movie that came out about 30 years ago, and certainly had a few scenes that were quite jarring. I should retro-view that at some point. Nevertheless, he's communicating with these aliens, or possibly just hallucinating the fact that they're aliens and they're just weird lights in the sky that don't move and blink occasionally. And then appear and reappear and then do whatever and everything. So basically, they might be aliens. We don't see any of the aliens, though. We just get centered around Maggie and Lloyd. And from there, we have a family drama that's basically about characters reconnecting. We find out that, certain things happened that led to Lloyd leaving, and that Maggie has her reasons for coming back. And they all make sense. Good acting from Thomas Hayden Church and Diana Argan, but other than that, there really isn't much to this movie. It's a very thin plot, which basically is about making sure that you appreciate the time you have with somebody. Don't run away, especially don't leave the people you love. And if you do, it's really hard to get that. It's impossible to get the time back. It's impossible to get that trust back. Also, they seem to be implying that Lloyd may not be doing well health-wise, and that Maggie's concerned because she's still his daughter. That's still her father. Other than that, there really isn't a ton to it. I mean, we find out the deal about the Acidman thing. There are some towny kids that pick on him because he's the local weirdo. There's like one scene where they harass him, like briefly. And other than that, it's just really centered around those two characters. And there's some good acting and some good dialogue exchanges. A few scenes that might tug at your heartstrings a little bit, but other than that, it feels more like a one-act play just put on film. So yeah, it's available on Amazon for a few bucks. I plunked it down because supporting filmmakers and helping their projects grow, if it's a few bucks for me and it helps them do that, then why not? Because you know what? More people do that instead of pirating movies, then better films can be made. And, films can be made and people can live out their dreams and do what they want to do. Anyway, I'm going to get into spoilers, just so you know, but that's your warning. 3, 2, 1, Thomas Hayden Church, Diana Argan, pretty good in this. Other than that, nothing else. Spoilers! That's unfair, actually. The actress who plays the waitress isn't all that bad, but she isn't given all that much to do. So basically, I will tell you right now, the dog dies, unfortunately. And then we find out that basically Maggie ran away from her husband, Ben, and we find out why a little bit later. Thomas Hayden Church is coming up with various ways to communicate with these aliens, these lights in the sky, trying to come up with different codes, colored stuff or whatever, number sequences. But also, it becomes obvious that he has some form of dementia, and he's losing it, and his mind's rapidly eroding. And there are some tense scenes. There's one particular point where he can tell that Maggie doesn't totally believe him. Like, you're just like everybody else. If I could trust you, I'm letting you in on this and all this. And then that leads to where the dog ends up actually shot by some hunters there, indiscriminately just firing bullets, goddamn jackasses. And the dog ends up dying, unfortunately. Gets buried, a particular walking spot that they loved. And then from there, Maggie and Lloyd talked to Charlie, the waitress, and then there's another scene a little bit later where Charlie talks to Maggie and tells her the story about, there are things I would change, but I love my two sons. There are things you can want to change, but you got to appreciate what you have, basically. And then there's earlier scene where she's trying to paint over the Acidman thing because it's just local towny kids. He fires a gun in the air to scare the people off. It's a shame that, we couldn't afford to maybe see one of them get their head taken off for being goddamn jackasses. But I digress, of course. This is more of a family drama. And then he comes up with this big idea, Lloyd does, to shoot some fireworks in the sky, do a color code thing and all this. And right when they're doing that, he notices and he basically reveals, you're going to be a great mother, Maggie. You don't run away from your problems, because that's why she ran away from Ben, because she's not sure how to handle the upcoming pregnancy. She's just not sure how to handle it and the impending, birth. So, he says, you don't run away from your problems, you're better than me, and stuff like that. And there was one earlier scene when he's burying the dog and he just zones out because his mind just snaps, and she confesses all this stuff to him, and then she goes away, and then she talks to Charlie, and then does that, and then they do the fireworks thing and all that, and one final emotional bond, one final goodbye. She says she'll check back with him in July, because he says that may be when the next thing happens, and then she takes off, because she's ready to talk to her husband, hopefully work things out and everything. He's going to continue to hunt for aliens, and then that's it. That's it. That's literally it. Decent, good acting, decent dialogue. Other than that, there really wasn't much of anything. I'm going to give it a C+ for what it did right. Other than that, it was just basic. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.